Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Pramac's team manager Gino Borsoi left Valencia upbeat after Toprak Razgatlıoğlu's first meaningful run on the Yamaha V4. The test was never about lap records, it was about foundations, ergonomics, braking, and honest feedback. By those measures, Borsoi says the Turkish champion exceeded expectations and gave Yamaha and Pramac a very useful start to 2026 work. After a day of private testing at Valencia, Pecco Bagnaia left the track noticeably brighter than he arrived. The Ducati rider finished 10th on the timesheets but insisted the numbers understate the real story. His first contact with the 2026 prototype delivered clear, usable gains, especially in electronics, braking confidence, and rear-tyre management, that give him cautious optimism for the winter program. Quartararo left Valencia's test measured rather than ecstatic after his first meaningful laps on Yamaha's new V4 prototype. The Frenchman completed work to find a baseline for a very different machine, praised the time on track but warned that one short day of running is far from enough to call the project a success, or a failure. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Valencia's one-day test was the logical place to begin Yamaha's V4 chapter in earnest. The opening focus was simple and pragmatic: collect reliable data, sort ergonomics, and build a baseline for the winter program. Borsoi stressed the priority wasn't raw lap times but usable information to carry forward. He described the day as very important for Yamaha, not a headline-grabbing outing, but the first step of a long project. If Valencia was a blueprint, Yamaha and Pramac left with the first sketches complete. Though Toprak finished down the order, 18th, Borsoi judged the outing a success. The rider showed quick understanding of bike dynamics, gave precise feedback and adapted faster than many expected. For a rider moving from superbikes to a MotoGP V4 prototype, that's significant. He was very good and precise in talking about the bike's dynamics, maybe even more than I expected. Early impressions matter, and Toprak's intelligence on setup gave the team useful direction for the next sessions. The headline technical challenge for Toprak is braking and tire management. Superbike-style heavy braking doesn't translate directly to Michelin and carbon brake MotoGP behavior. Borsoi noted Toprak began hard on the brakes but adapted as laps accumulated. That evolution, learning to brake less aggressively while extracting speed, was the test's key riding lesson. Translating brutal SBK braking into MotoGP finesse is a short-term headache with long-term upside. Borsoi singled out Alberto Dribbiola as a strong fit alongside Toprak, continuity that should smooth the adaptation curve. With Jack Miller also in the picture, Pramac now fields two powerful personalities to help refine the M1 V4. Borsoi praised the team chemistry born during the Aragon shakedown and strengthened at Valencia. A new engine project is as much a human challenge as a technical one. The garage lineup here matters. Borsoi repeatedly underlined the measured tone of Yamaha's V4 rollout: gather information, avoid big mistakes, and prepare for more aggressive development days to come. The Pramac manager framed the V4 plus Toprak combination as a double gamble, worth taking to reboot Yamaha's fortunes. It's definitely a double gamble for us, the V4 and Toprak, but we needed it to restart with a new spirit. Risk and reward are inseparable in MotoGP development. This gamble aims to reset Yamaha's trajectory. Valencia was the first chapter, not the conclusion. Borsoi expects more fine-tuning in the immediate follow-up tests and a steady winter program that turns Valencia's impressions into a concrete package. He remains realistic: there's still a lot of work to do, but confident that the foundations laid will pay off. The hard yards begin now: convert Toprak's early adaptability into consistent lap-after-lap performance. Valencia provided proof of concept. Toprak can talk the bike's language. Pramac has the personnel to support him, and Yamaha's V4 has a patient plan. Borsoi's verdict was clear: the test didn't need glamour, it needed substance. If the Turkish rider keeps adapting as he did on day 1, 2026 just got a lot more interesting. Officially, Bagnaia was 10th in the Valencia test with a 1 minute and 29.731 seconds, a time he set on a medium rear because his soft tire time attack was ruined by a long run at turn 1. That incident cost him a proper push lap, but he stressed the real value was in feeling the new package rather than chasing the leaderboard. It was definitely a good day right from the start. The first approach to the 2026 bike was positive, so we're happy. When a test is about direction and data, a top 10 number becomes secondary to how the rider can exploit the machine's limits. Bagnaia highlighted being very incisive under braking and on corner entry, and equally important, the ability to manage the rear tire over race-style runs, something he struggled with through much of 2025. He attributed part of the improvement to electronic changes that made the bike more predictable and confidence-inspiring. Electronics helped him be more comfortable. That comfort translated into stronger braking and better tire life. Electronics can be subtle on paper but huge in the rider's hands. If the software tames instability, lap times often follow. Bagnaia explained the incident in turn 1 was a long run. I overbraked a bit and ran wide, and that the bike dropped onto the tarmac, ending his only soft tire attack. Still, even his medium tire time was only 0.3 off the pace, underlining that the day's work had merit beyond a single fast lap. A botched attack can skew rankings, yet will forge race runs and consistent behavior are the real currency of tests. Bagnaia gave the new fairing positive marks but cautioned Valencia's narrow, low-speed layout isn't the best place to evaluate high-speed aero gains. He expects further validation on faster circuits where aerodynamic effects are more revealing. We're happy with the new fairing, which worked well. However, we need to do more laps because this track isn't very aerodynamically friendly. Good initial impressions need corroboration at tracks with long straights and fast corners before you call them breakthroughs. Bagnaia avoided grand declarations. He wants the improvements to be repeatable rather than a one-off. Still, the day restored confidence and peace of mind heading into the winter. The plan is methodical. Test more, validate the electronics and aero across different tracks, and convert today's sensations into a stable baseline for 2026. He doesn't want the result to be a fluke. It must survive further testing. After a season of frustrating inconsistency, rebuilding a reliable platform is the priority, and Valencia's test looks like a genuine first step. Bagnaia's Valencia test was less about lap charts and more about reassurance. Better braking, kinder electronics, and improved tire management gave him the feel he's been chasing. If the engineering gains replicate on faster circuits, Ducati may have a constructive winter ahead. For now, Pecco leaves Valencia with measured optimism, not celebration, and a clear checklist for the months to come. Quartararo used Valencia primarily to build a basic setup for the V4 rather than chase lap times. He completed many laps and swapped settings repeatedly to better understand the bike's front-end behavior. The day was short compared with Yamaha's wider program, so patience was the key takeaway. It's too early to say whether I'm happy or not. We managed to do a lot of laps. Tomorrow will be important. With a radical architecture change, the aim is to create a usable starting point, not immediate parity with rivals. Much of the day was spent chasing a stable front-end feel. Quartararo said the team focused on getting comfortable with the steering and entry behavior, the single biggest missing link from previous outings. He stressed the need for more time to lock the basic geometry and settings. The front end remains the priority. Today helped, but more work is required to find the baseline. On a new chassis, the front-end window can be tiny. Find it, and everything else follows. Quartararo wasn't ready to declare whether the V4 brings more power. He felt the team was running the engine conservatively while focusing on usable power delivery through the corners. Electronics are different and require detailed tuning to match riding style and chassis changes. I think we're using the power we have. We're trying to make sure we have maximum power through the corners. On paper, the V4 changes the engine map and electronics envelope. Mapping that into rider confidence is the long job. The V4 feels different to ride compared with the inline-4 machine's Quartararo knows. He said the riding is completely different, but that he likes the way he rides the V4 so far, again stressing that more laps are needed to convert the initial feeling into consistent performance. The V4 demands different setup work and adaptation. Today was a step toward that. Early affinity is positive, but the category's margins are small. Liking a bike and being able to extract lap after lap performance are separate tasks. Quartararo emphasized that Valencia was only the start and that the following test sessions will be decisive. He underlined the priority: find a reliable base setup, refine electronics and chassis balance, then evaluate outright potential. Until those steps are complete, he won't make a verdict on the V4's promise. Tomorrow will be important, especially to find the right way to work on the chassis, electronics, engine, aerodynamics. Today was just a day to get familiar with the bike. Measured optimism is the correct posture when a factory changes fundamental architecture. Yamaha still needs time to turn sensation into speed. Quartararo left Valencia pragmatic, intrigued by the V4's potential but unwilling to call it solved after one short day. The test delivered useful data and many laps. But the big questions, front-end stability, usable power delivery and a repeatable setup, remain for the next sessions. For now, Yamaha and Quartararo are in the fact-finding phase, not the results phase. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!